Hey guys, it's Keaton again with the 8-Bit Pepper channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review / taste test on the RB003. So this was one of the pods Clayton Hollingsworth sent to me just recently. Pretty sweet. Maybe a little off phenotype with pepper not having that quite protruded stinger, but still going to be hot and taste great nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this open, show you the inside of it. This is one of the peppers that a lot of people have been asking me to review. So finally got my hands on one. I'm gonna do a review taste test today. So quite a few seeds in there. You can see the inside of that. For the size of the pepper, there's a crazy amount of seeds, I feel like. And the walls are pretty thick to the pepper. Pretty big placenta in the back. So, and this is kind of going to be a 2-in-1 video, so to speak. I'm going to be kind of giving you guys a little bit of an about me in this and kind of what started my pepper journey maybe. Let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and eat this. This is a Carolina Reaper crossed with a 7-pot brain strain. So really, one last look at it. How rigid and bumpy it is. Really awesome pepper. Thanks for sending it to me, Clayton. So let's get into it. So heat right off the bat. It's not starting out too hot. It's kind of slowly coming on, it feels like, right on the top of my tongue. That's where the initial heat's starting, I should say. So, and I normally don't do this, but kind of wrote down some stuff just so I kind of stayed on topic so everybody could kind of get a feel for stuff going in kind of the order, I guess, that I wanted to talk about everything. So, my name's Keaton West. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm 29 years old. I'm almost 30 in December. I'm married with 2 kids, a little boy and a girl. Some of my interests people were curious about. I like to do video gaming and fishing. Some of my favorite video games I've played are like the Diablo series, kind of Diablo 3, Diablo 4, not so much recently, but in the past for sure. Fishing, my favorite fish I've caught when I went with my family to Corpus Christi, Texas. When I was 17, we went just kind of shore fishing, bank fishing off the beach, and I caught a redfish. That's what the locals called it anyway. It's probably like 34 inches long, but it was a great fight considering I brought with me a bait caster reel and rod that were only meant for like largemouth bass between 5 and 7 pounds. So it fought really good for a while. Bloodborne and the Dark Souls series, those were also great games. I played Bloodborne a lot. So heat level on this pepper, let's get into that maybe. Probably sitting at about a 3 or 4 right now. Most of the heat concentrated on the back of my throat and maybe a little bit on my tongue right now, but mostly kind of sitting on my throat. It's actually pretty manageable flavor-wise of the pepper. I'd have to say mostly bitter notes. Could potentially be because of all the seeds. Had a little fruity flavor at the beginning, kind of jumped more to bitter now. Tasting it, just your standard pepper flavor, I guess you could say. How it smells is kind of how it's tasting right now. Kind of back towards the other stuff. My favorite spicy hot dish that I have had. There was a Indian restaurant. I'll kind of get more into that here shortly, but it was a local place that had tikka masala that you could kind of customize to your own heat level. and I usually got it at the very hottest. And it was just a great flavored dish and everything. You could smell the heat before you even opened the like styrofoam container that the sauce came in. So that was awesome, just because I loved, you know, the aromatics of Indian food, and mixed with the heat was kind of why it was my favorite. I'll probably do like a future hot sauce, my favorite list, top 10 or something. But for right now, I'm really digging the Wartrick sauce I just recently made, that all the peppers Matthew Arthur sent me. I made a lot of hot sauce with the Wartrick peppers. Really, really nice sauce. I thought it turned out really good. Kind of pepper forward, but you could taste a lot of the notes of the Wartricks too. So kind of gonna get into personal life. Maybe I have a full-time job currently. I'm not gonna say where, but that's kind of why sometimes I space the videos out the way I do. I don't like to work with really bad capsaicin cramps, so I kind of try to time a day off relatively close, or the next day if possible. I'll be working tomorrow, so I'm only eating one because I don't want to suffer all day. I hope you guys can appreciate and be all right with that. But what started my pepper journey, that was kind of 3 or 4 people I think have asked what I got started with, why and how. So when I was like 11 or 12, my grandma, she grew some hot peppers in her garden, some habaneros, jalapenos. Those aren't the hottest, but she had these red pepper flakes she made where she dried them out on a clothesline. And at that time, 11, 12-year-old, I was kind of new to heat, so to speak. And those kind of kick-started my love for heat, because both of my parents relatively like their food mild. I think I got most of my genetics from my grandma when it comes to spice level and heat. Those red pepper flakes, I used them all up probably within the first week or two. And I put them on pizza, I put them on pasta, I put them on, you name it, French fries. I just was digging the heat and what those red pepper flakes were kind of doing for me. After that, say when I was in high school, maybe like 15 or 16, I started going with my friends on Friday nights or Saturdays to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I was getting hot wings, and one of my other friends was kind of like getting mango habanero, and I was like, well, maybe I'll try that. So I tried that. And then it was pretty soon I was getting blazing wings, and it just kind of spiraled from there. I was starting to get really into spiciness, spicy foods, everything. After that, about 20 or 21 years old, I was looking for, what can I eat / grow peppers, maybe even try to. I grew Carolina Reaper and ghost peppers, and it just kind of became a passion, I guess, of mine to all things spicy. It was enjoyable to watch them grow. Initially, I was turning those into powders and kind of experimenting, making maybe like hot sauce, or just eating them as dried flakes, hotter and hotter. I wasn't quite eating raw peppers like I do now, but everything builds on itself. If you like this enough and you want to get into hotter and hotter and be able to eat raw peppers like I do, you just got to kind of push yourself. If you don't feel the pain when you eat something from the spice level, it means your tolerance is probably not going up. But everybody's different. So, what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. Shortly after I tried growing Reapers and ghost peppers was around the time I discovered that local Indian restaurant. And so I started out with like heat level 1, progressed to, I think I jumped straight to 3 because I thought 1 wasn't hot enough. So then I got level 3, and then kind of the next 2 times or 3 times I visited, I got 4, and then I jumped to 5. Pretty much at that point, I think they were just grinding up ghost peppers in the back of the kitchen for me and putting them into a tikka masala sauce, because it was like straight red at that point. And tikka masala, it's kind of a creamy, buttery looking sauce, and it was basically the color of that pepper I just ate. So I'm like 99% sure I was just eating ghost pepper sauce, but tasted great, it smelled great, the food was awesome. Unfortunately, towards the tail end of COVID, that place closed, which was really unfortunate, but I enjoyed it while it was there. There is other Indian restaurants, but just they don't make the spicy food as hot as that one did for me. So kind of after that, pretty much got into now the last couple of years growing just peppers of all varieties. Carolina Reapers last year, and habanero some last year. I didn't go crazy with growing stuff. I had like ghost pepper plants, 2 of those, and 2 Reaper plants last year, and a habanero. So I didn't go crazy like I did this year, maybe. And by some people's standards, I have a small garden, setup. But chocolate primatalis, I started growing those in that grow tent, and that was about 4 months. March is when I got that grow tent and set up. And I didn't even have aspirations or plans to start YouTube from then. But it just kind of happened recently. My wife was kind of like, why don't you start a YouTube? And when I got the peppers from Matthew, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a shot here and just make it all for fun, because I just love everything spicy and pepper related. It's just kind of like a fun little experimental journey, and you guys are along for the ride. You just didn't watch me from a young age kind of compile such a high tolerance, but you're going to have some content I'm going to make for, the in-between stuff. That was just kind of the key bullet points I could think of. But there was a lot of other things. Like, I went over to a friend's house shortly after my grandma gave me pepper flakes, and he was like, hey, you want to eat some jalapenos and crackers? Because that was his favorite snack. So that's one thing I kind of got into as well, and still kind of snack on that to this day. And I don't know, I guess it just developed a love for all things spicy, but kind of steered away from the RB003. So while I was talking, maybe around the time that I was talking about starting my full-time, or not starting, but my full-time job that I have, it was probably at like a 4. It was a pretty hot pepper. If you're new to peppers, definitely I would avoid that pepper. If you can handle maybe habanero level or higher, if you get your hands on one of those, maybe take like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch sliver off of it, and get yourself a tape measure if you don't know what 1/8 of an inch is, but take a little piece of it, maybe just chew it in your mouth, see how you feel. If you feel like you could handle swallowing it, swallow it. It's just all an experiment, and that's what I think I love the most, is that everybody reacts different. Everybody's tolerance is different. What works for me doesn't work for you, or does work for you. I appreciate that aspect of spicy food, is that one person, they could eat something hotter than blazing sun, and then another person, let's just say my mom, she can't even handle a jalapeno. So, and not even a sliver of a jalapeno. She avoids spicy foods like the plague. She just doesn't have any desire or enjoyment from them. And I respect that too. Sometimes I'll say, hey, smell this hot sauce, when she's around. And she's still hesitant, but it's enjoyable nonetheless, just to kind of, go back and forth with my mom about that. But, so overall taste, the aftertaste of that kind of went to a pleasant flavor. Didn't have any bitter notes or nothing like that. It was, for the most part, like a slight fruity, and almost like I said originally, the smell of the pepper was kind of the aftertaste. And I don't mind the Chinense smell flavor combo. It's one of my favorites. That's why I'm into super hots. But if you can handle, I'd say, a scorpion, Maruga scorpion maybe, you could probably handle that pepper. Maybe I'm off when I say that, but I feel like it was really similar in heat level to that. Not quite like 7-Pop Primo or chocolate primatali or red primatali, but definitely good tasting pepper. Get your hands on some of those, grow those. I plan to get some seeds for those, probably, and grow those next year. I might not start them until late February or early March, because that's kind of where Nebraska, the zone I'm in, and it kind of is like 5B/6A. And so you don't want to start stuff too early unless you plan on keeping them indoors for the most part until it gets nice out. And then it's a kind of a challenge sometimes to harden your plants off, because it goes straight from winter to like a week or two maybe of spring, where it's warm enough that you can get your peppers outside, but at night still have to bring them in. And then about after a week or so after Mother's Day here, that's when you can really start keeping your stuff outside. So I try to keep my plants inside until then, just because I don't want to have to restart. That would eat at me. That's what I've done the last 2 years, and it seemed to work. You know, just hardening them off is the hard part. But anyway, this has been another pepper review with Keaton here. Thanks so much for watching, all the overwhelming support. Once again, I'm gonna link Clayton Hollingsworth's email in the description box. And if you have any questions about getting peppers, pods, or anything like that from him, I don't know if he sells seeds, but he has a great collection of stuff, peppers and whatnot, so I'm sure he could muster up some seeds, but I don't want to speak for him. Ask him yourself. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.